With three ducks in a row, is Abhishek Sharma washed? Is the real question. Now, before we talk about everything that's happened in cricket so far yesterday, welcome to Wake Up Cricket, powered by Pavilion Picks. Hit that subscribe button, get us to 100 subs. So yeah, let's get into everything that's happened in cricket yesterday.
So, first things first, and that's India's win over the Netherlands. Now, India finished unbeaten as Dube shines in hard fought win over the Netherlands. India maintained their perfect record in the T20 World Cup group stage, sealing a 4-0 sweep with a controlled victory over the Netherlands. Shivam Dube was named the player of the match for a composed all round display on a tricky surface that skidded and kept low. Adapting to the conditions, Dube curbed his attacking instincts before accelerating at the right moment while also chipping in with the ball. India experimented with multiple bowling options, with Jasprit Bumrah and Varun continuing to look sharp as they head into the Super 8 brimming with confidence, though they did not deploy Suryakumar Yadav. He did not bring himself on for bowling. Anyway, the Netherlands fought gamely until the final over, but their inability to convert promising starts with the bat proved costly once again. A boundary of the last ball from Logan Van Beek added cosmetic gloss, yet India were rarely in serious danger despite occasional lapses in intensity. The result ensures India advance unbeaten, while the Netherlands exit ruining missed opportunities in a campaign that showed flashes of promise.
Now, it was a routine game. I mean, neither of us saw Netherlands beating India, but even then, India is still in a position where they have not yet played their best game of cricket. And
True.
you can think of it as something that's good because we know that we sort of peaked too early in the 2023 ODI World Cup, and then we were found lacking in the final. So, fans from that perspective, I think it's a good thing that India is yet to play their best game. Of course, there are concerns, but one of the concerns being Abhishek Sharma, which we will in fact come back to till the end. So do watch till the end on that. But just in general, India getting to 193 on what I want to say is was not the easiest pitch to bat on. It was one where you had to get in and apply yourself. And there was value for strokes once you were able to realize the pace of the pitch and time the ball well. On that very front, Surya Kumar Yadav and Tilak Verma once again becoming a little bit of a concern now in the middle overs, maybe something worth watching out for, especially come the next game against South Africa for India and the Super 8s, because it seems like around the overs of 7 to 11, India is struggling a little bit. They're struggling to play spin a bit. But for them, luckily enough, every game has thrown up a new hero.
True.
This time it was Shivam Dube. He's in fact, I think, got his second 50 of the tournament.
Yeah.
Something to keep in mind. Beautiful to watch. He applied himself really well. He's known to be a spin basher. That's exactly what he did. But he also tore into the quicks, who, funnily enough, were bowling cutters, which means that they just became faster spinners that he was able to dispatch.
Yeah, that is true. Watching Shivam Dube and Hardik Pandya bat together is almost like a dream come true, because a couple of years ago we were looking for fast bowling all-rounders and now we have two of them. Especially with Hardik Pandya, you never thought you would play Shivam Dube with Hardik Pandya a couple of years ago. Yet we have both of them playing together, both of them batting lower middle order, and both of them finishing the game alternatively. It was Hardik Pandya before, now it's Shivam Dube, and he scored a fantastic 50. For Shivam Dube's batting arc, what a good player he's become.
Post the 2023 World Cup, considering that Hardik was injured during the World Cup, India did back Shivam Dube and now are reaping the rewards. Now, a first for Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir stunned Bengal to reach maiden Ranji Trophy final in a landmark moment for the state. Jammu and Kashmir scripted history by defeating two-time champions Bengal by 6 wickets in the 2025-26 Ranji Trophy semi-final in Kalyani, sealing their first ever spot in the final. Abdul Samad starred with 82 and a blistering unbeaten 30 of 27 balls, while Akib Nabi's match haul of 9 for 9 for 123 laid the foundation. Vanshaj Sharma's composed unbeaten 43 in the fourth innings guided Jammu and Kashmir through tense moments as they completed a memorable chase in what has been a fairy tale campaign. Resuming with 83 needed and 8 wickets in hand, Jammu and Kashmir were tested by Mohammad Shami and Akashdeep, who generated movement and kept hopes alive for Bengal. At 71 for 4, the contest hung in balance before Samad's counterattack featuring towering sixes of Akashdeep and Shahbaz Ahmed swung momentum decisively. Vanshaj then unfurled a flurry of boundaries to calm nerves before sealing victory, sparking wild celebrations and marking Red Letter Day 67 years after Jammu and Kashmir's maiden Ranji appearance.
Now, something you guys need to understand is that this has been a team effort by far. Because if to give you a little perspective, in a season where a lot of runs have been scored, and in a season where a lot of batters average more than 50, in for Jammu and Kashmir, the only batter who averages more than 50 in their lineup is Abdul Samad, and he also averages more than 50 because of the batting position that he bats in. Now, Akib Nabi बोल दो. Yeah, Akif Nabi, who in the last 5 matches averages more than 50 with the bat. He's also the second highest wicket taker with the ball in the entire season. He averages 12 with the ball, which is the best average in the top 10 wicket takers. He also has a strike rate of 28, which is also the best in the top 10 wicket takers. It's insane what he's been able to do with the ball. It's also insane. We've talked about this before. He hasn't played for India. He hasn't played any India matches. He's only played Ranji Trophy. But he's almost single-handedly carried the Jammu and Kashmir bowling lineup. And then to think about how they beat the test bowling squad against Bengal. They beat the likes of Mohammad Shami, Akashdeep, and Mukesh Kumar, who they had all three of them in their lineup. And they beat that Bengal team. To think of Jammu and Kashmir to be able to do this, it's exactly the fairy tale story that they needed to get into the final. Of course, it's against Karnataka, and that's a whole other thing.
We're rooting for the boys.
Yeah, but for Jammu and Kashmir to be able to do this, for Akib Nabi to be able to single-handedly almost carry the bowling lineup, it just goes to show how the kind of season he's had, being the second highest wicket taker and having an average more than 50 in the last 5 games. Yeah, the man's living a dream.
He's a man of the moment. And I actually came across a very interesting stat yesterday from one of the journalists who basically was covering Jammu and Kashmir. And Jammu and Kashmir is one of the first-class teams that has taken the longest to get to not only its first final, but also its first ever victory, which took 99 games.
Damn.
Interesting. And also the fact, just to think of how consistent Akib Nabi has been in the last few seasons. Now we'd get to Karnataka, guys, but as of now, we are wondering if there'd be another documentary on what subject. Well, Farhan answers critics with maiden T20 100 as Pakistan recalibrate approach. After falling for a duck against India at the R. Premadasa Stadium, Sahibzada Farhan bounced back in emphatic fashion with a maiden T20I century and unbeaten 100 of 58 balls against Namibia at the SSC. Dismissed early by Hardik Pandya in the high voltage clash days earlier, Farhan had come under scrutiny, especially given his measured power play approach. But on the smaller ground in Colombo, he paced his innings smartly, overcoming a cautious start to anchor Pakistan's total and earn player of the match honours. Pakistan's tempo remained conservative early on, consistent with a broader trend that has seen them lag behind teams like India in boundary frequency since 2024 T20 World Cup. Farhan, often criticised for a high dot ball percentage in the power play, chose to bat deep rather than attack recklessly, particularly as wickets fell around him in the middle overs. With Babar Azam short of form and the middle order still unsettled, Farhan's ability to combine stability with calculated acceleration could prove pivotal as Pakistan head into the Super 8 stage.
Now, yesterday we were talking about how that fixture is going to be important for Pakistan for them to be able to get into the Super 8s. Of course, they've managed to do that, and they've done that also very convincingly, beating Namibia by 102 runs. Sahibzada Farhan, of course, getting that all-important century, which is a ray of hope really for the Pakistan fans, because in a batting lineup that has looked very choppy in terms of how they've gone about things, especially the Babar Azam point, which is something we also saw yesterday, because usually you have Babar Azam coming in at number 4 or number 3, but in this game he did not even get to bat. And basically what happened is Pakistan eventually got, I want to say, 199 for 3, and they lost their second wicket in about the 13th over, which I would think is still a decent enough time for them to have Babar Azam come in. But clearly the team management is not happy with the kind of performances he's putting in, which meant that he didn't even get to bat in the innings. And so they'd sent up Shadab Khan and another player whose name I'm forgetting. But it clearly means that they're at least open to the idea of looking past Babar Azam batting at that number 4 position, which might really be a good thing for them, because he really has not clicked throughout this tournament. And so if you think about it from that perspective, with them being able to try out new options, they might be a whole different beast in the Super 8s. Also because the games that they're going to have, some of them are going to be in Colombo. You might have a couple of games. I mean, they are going to have their games in Sri Lanka. That's what we know. They have a good spin attack. The spin attack has come to the party multiple times. And given the fact that we spoke about how Australia is already knocked out, Pakistan might be one to watch out for in the Super 8s, but a lot of boxes still to be ticked.
A lot of people yesterday before the toss did wonder if Babar Azam was going to be dropped. The fact that he didn't even get to bat says something. But interestingly, Shaheen Shah Afridi was dropped and he wasn't rested because he had no reason to be rested and was dropped from the playing 11, which was a call they took. So we'll see about Babar Azam next. There you go.
And we'll also see our next story, which is about the IPL. Fit for IPL is the question. Selectors unfazed by IPL return talk as Australia review World Cup debacle. Australia selectors have played down concerns that Josh Hazlewood and Pat Cummins could return for the IPL after missing a disastrous T20 World Cup campaign, insisting their absence was purely a matter of timing. Both quicks were ruled out on the eve of the tournament, Hazelwood with ongoing Achilles and calf issues, and Cummins due to a lumbar stress concern, leaving Australia without two of their frontline bowlers as they crashed out in the group stage. Selector Tony Dodemaide said in a full review that would follow, but stressed there was no frustration over the prospect of the pair featuring in the IPL, noting that had the scheduling been reversed, they would have been prioritizing the World Cup instead. Australia managed just 4 wickets across two losses to Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka, exposing frailties in both their bowling and batting combinations. Steve Smith, viewed strictly as a backup opener, arrived late in Sri Lanka and did not feature once Mitchell Marsh regained fitness, while debate continues over selection calls involving Matt Renshaw, Cooper Connolly, and Cameron Green. With Olympics qualification implications looming and possible discussions around the Big Bash League rule tweaks on the horizon, Australia's hierarchy now face searching questions after an early and embarrassing exit.
Australia's selection in this World Cup has been very interesting. The fact that Steve Smith wasn't selected to begin with wasn't a surprise, but after his Big Bash form, when he was selected, he wasn't given a chance, which was a shocker. Cameron Green, who's supposed to be this generational talent, hasn't performed at all with the bat or the ball. Matt Renshaw, when he does perform, doesn't get a game next. Mitchell Marsh, who was, again, supposed to start well, didn't start well because of his injuries or him being sick, so didn't play the first couple of games. Then you have Hazelwood and Pat Cummins missing because of injury. And that's the interesting bit, right? They aren't fit for the World Cup. They might just be fit for the IPL. We've seen this happen before. And I think for Australia, you don't make it a big thing, even though I'm sure a lot of Australian pundits might just make it a big thing because you know that Hazelwood and Pat Cummins, especially those two, have prioritized Australia even before. Interestingly, Hazelwood has done this before heading into a World Cup. I think it was the ODI World Cup where he wasn't injured but played the IPL and said there's no better experience to have than to play the IPL, to play a high pressure tournament, then went into the World Cup. Didn't have the best of World Cups, didn't pick up a lot of wickets, then got criticized for playing the IPL. But yeah, Hazelwood and Cummins have done this before. I don't think it's such a big deal. I think they would prioritize the T20 World Cup over the IPL any day, playing for the Australian colors. They've done this before in the red ball format. They've done this before in the ODI format. There's no reason for them to not do it in the T20 format. I mean, if they don't really care for the T20 World Cup, I'll understand that. But them coming back to the IPL is just coincidental, if anything.
Yeah, there's not really much more to add. And I don't think Australian fans, I mean, of course, some of them are going to make a big deal out of it, but Australia seems to be a more sane country in this regard, understanding the cricketing culture and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, it happened at the Champions Trophy as well, but it was also to do with the timelines of their recovery with the World Cup preceding the IPL and in that case the Champions Trophy. All right then, so moving on to the stuff that boys love talking about, and that's Karnataka and Ranji Trophy, and in this case Ranji finals. Smaran's twin tons power Karnataka to the brink of Ranji final. Karnataka tightened their grip on a place in the 2025-26 Ranji Trophy final with another commanding display in Lucknow, stretching their overall lead over Uttarakhand to a staggering 802 runs. After piling up 736 in the first innings, they bowled Uttarakhand out for 233 despite a spirited 45 unbeaten from Aditya Rawat, with Vijay Kumar Veshak and Vidyadhar Patil leading the charge. Opting not to enforce the follow-on, Karnataka batted again and rode on R. Smaran's second century of the match, 127, along with brisk 50s from KL Rahul, 70 unbeaten, and Kritik Krishna, 52, to all but bat Uttarakhand out of the contest. Smaran's prolific season continued as he moved to the top of the tournament's run charts, nearing the 1,000-run mark, while Rahul's counter-attacking knock ensured there were no way back for a weary Uttarakhand attack. With 1 day remaining and only a formality standing in the way, Karnataka appears set to book a final date with Jammu and Kashmir in what promises to be a historic title clash.
if you're wondering how much nearing to 1,000 runs Ravichandran Smaran is, it's 950 runs that he's gotten in this season. But let's just put it into perspective, right? And I love talking about this because Karnataka is doing extremely well. This will be their first final, if they get to it, which they will, in 10 years of Ranji Trophy. This is a side that has always had the talent, that has always produced quality players, but somehow something would go wrong. We wouldn't find a way to click and make it all the way to the final. This time, they've finally done that and they lead by 102 runs. 802 runs. Yeah, I eat the 8 because that's what you do when you don't have breakfast. But 802 runs is the lead. Just to put that into perspective, it's not even something that they've scored. They've scored way more than that. And even more importantly, something that was very interesting is that in the second innings, they came out with a bit of a flip batting order because Kritik Krishna, their wicketkeeper, who usually bats around number 6, number 7, he was sent up the order, which was just at that point rubbing salt into Uttarakhand's wounds.
Yeah, Shreyas Gopal batted number 3 and got no run.
Didn't get a run. And once again, it was actually a little bit of a bother. I mean, it wasn't a bother because we had enough runs, but they were 122 for 4 when KL Rahul finally walked in at number 6. And then him and Smaran stitched a partnership about 140 odd. So they just look in command. They've also given their batters who've not maybe batted that much in the tournament some batting time out there. And they just look like a beast ready to dominate the final and win the Ranji Trophy. Unless Akim Nabi does something there.
Yeah, to give you a little perspective on Karnataka's batting, like I said, with Jammu and Kashmir, they have only one batter averaging more than 50. For Karnataka, they have 4 of them. In fact, 3 out of 4 of them average more than 60. And all 3 of them are top order batters. So it tells you how many runs that they've scored.
And it was that Karun Nair season, right? When they last made it to the finals. All right, then. So, meantime, and yet again, it features Abhishek Sharma. Over to you guys.
All right. Of course, Abhishek Sharma has taken inspiration from the wrong Yuvraj Singh, is what they say, the 2014 World Cup version of Yuvraj. But of course, there's a little bit of concern because of the fact that he's not scored a single run in the group stage. He's got 3 ducks. But I don't think there's anything to worry about. Now, people are also getting into the discussion of discussing the modes of dismissal and if a certain line is troubling Abhishek Sharma, which basically is around the fact that a lot of spinners or even a lot of bowlers in general have realized that Abhishek Sharma has a certain bat swing, which means that he's happy to open up his square boundaries and likes that little bit of room. Now, what is happening is a lot of bowlers have realized that and are starting to ball more stump lines. Having said that, Abhishek Sharma has been a beast off the stump line as well.
True.
It's just got to do with the fact that maybe he's not in the right headspace because technically it's not like anything's changed for him.
And if anything, the pitches have also been a little different as compared to when he was heading into the World Cup. Yeah. So maybe it's that also. It's not a big concern really. If as long as he's confident with himself and confident in himself, and the fact that he can come out and play the way he wants to, it's absolutely fine. Getting 3 ducks might seem like a big deal, but it's okay. It's not like he wasn't scoring a lot of runs. He scored runs in every single condition heading into the World Cup against every single line and length. So you're okay. Like you know that he's okay. It's just him getting into rhythm once again, which he is. Like I'm sure he's batting well in the nets. It's just different kind of pitches. It's heading into the World Cup. India, when they were playing against South Africa and New Zealand, we had the flattest of tracks. Start the World Cup, something's happened to the pitches. So it's been a little different, and that's also why we haven't seen a lot of 200 plus scores. But it's okay. Like it's like you have Super 8s, then you'll probably get into the semi-finals, and then probably we'll get into the finals. True. There's a lot of chances for Abhishek Sharma to score these runs. It's fine. It's not the end of the world.
In fact, it's a lot of people are also going as far as comparing this campaign of his to Virat Kohli's 24 campaign, where Virat Kohli couldn't buy a run for the life of him until that all-important final. So, for all you know, the law of averages will eventually catch up, and Abhishek will step up in the games that really matter. Super 8s are going to be important. There's going to be some crunch fixtures there, and you would hope that he does well and India get through.
And it's the best time for him because he's facing South Africa. He always scores against South Africa. He scored against South Africa in South Africa. He scored against South Africa in India. It's the fixture that he wants. So if anything, good on him. Talking about South Africa and India, there are 3 matches today to talk about.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about them?
Let's talk about them. Of course, you have your T20 World Cup fixtures, which is standard. You have Italy taking on West Indies, who are unbeaten in the tournament up until now.
The West Indies,
West Indies, yes. Then you have Sri Lanka versus Zimbabwe, which is going to be interesting because the top spot is up for grabs. So Sri Lanka is sitting on, Sri Lanka is sitting on 6 points, Zimbabwe on 5. If Zimbabwe win this, they leapfrog and go to first position. That's the only bone of contention there. Apart from that, the last game of the day is Afghanistan versus Canada. This is on the men's T20 World Cup fixtures. You also have an Indian women's game today, which is the second T20 that they'll be playing in Australia.
They had the longest break in the world between two T20s, which is insane. But Australia take on India in Australia. We won the first T20. Yeah. Interestingly, I had a dream last night where Australia got all out for 66. And we just won the game by 10 wickets.
Megha, is that your way of announcing that you're well slept for this show, which is not always the case?
Maybe, yeah, that is true. Megha, do we have a prediction? Now, I'm not going to ask you a certain prediction because I've been doing that. You can choose a certain prediction this time around. Either a player scoring run or a team winning. Do we have a prediction for tonight?
Okay, between Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe, although it doesn't matter who finishes at the top, beyond the point that the confidence would be sky high, I would give Sri Lanka a chance. I didn't give it to them against Australia. I just want to strike that equilibrium, go Sri Lanka in home conditions. There are things that are coming right. One or the other batter is standing up, although there's that injury concern that gets further aggravated with Pathirana, but I'd give Sri Lanka a chance here. So my prediction is clear.
Now that she said that, we might just see Zimbabwe come out as victories. Winners is what I meant to say.
Victories.
Oh, victories.
Victorious.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a show today on Wake Up Cricket, powered by Pavilion Picks. See you guys tomorrow at 8 a.m. once again to talk about everything that's happened in cricket. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe, hit that subscribe button once again to get us to 100 subs.
Like the stream too.
Yeah, like, share it if you guys can. See you guys tomorrow at 8 a.m. once again. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.